Hello. It's good to see you. If you've been feeling like something is ending, but you can't quite see what's beginning yet, you're not imagining it. This week, we're standing at a threshold. It's a rare moment where there's a convergence. We have a solar eclipse, Mercury retrograde shadow, which means communication, appointments, be on point about that and check in, make sure you're where you need to be at the right time. And then Saturn is meeting Neptune at 0 degrees Aries. This is a big deal that many astrologers, including myself, have been watching. This is a cycle that begins every 35 to 38 years. So we're beginning a new cycle. The last time this happened was the 80s. We're going to talk about that in a moment. But the other thing to mention that's happening this week is that we have the Lunar New Year ushering in the year of the fire horse. So it's not a week of random energy. There is a lot going on, a lot of structural change, both personally and collectively. It is not a quiet week, but think of it as a reset week. So as you hop on, definitely give me a hello. It's great to come together in community like this. Hello, Julie. Great to have you. So let's jump right into pulling a card and asking what is the most, and I'm going to invite you, place your hand on your heart and you ask, what is the most important thing that you need to know going into this week ahead? This week where we're having a powerful reset, and we'll see who pops out. Ace of Swords. Now, the thing about the Ace of Swords energy is that this is divine inspiration. You see how she's got that beam of light going right to the very core of her mind, activating the pineal gland as well, or pineal, like the pine cone, looks like a pine cone. And as it's being activated, you are receiving intuitive downloads and insights. The key is being in a place where you can receive and hear them. Because as an empath, if we're distracted by the loud, busy world, it's going to be very difficult to hear that intuitive guidance. So I love to talk about ways that you can connect with the intuitive practices. And I share that here. And by the way, if we haven't met, my name's Irena Miller. I'm a spiritual life guide and astrologer. And it is my joy to connect curious, empathic seekers to the sacred tools and practices like working with the rhythms of the moon that really enable them to step into the life they were born to live. And we're going to talk about practices you can do to help quiet the chatter of the mind, making intuitive guidance much more easily heard. So let's talk about the overarching energy of the week. And I feel a bit like the elephant in the room because we've got the eclipse tomorrow. But here on Monday, we're in this quiet dark of the moon moment. Even though the eclipse energy is still very apparent and still affecting us, it's considered a dark moon phase. So very sacred, very liminal, kind of between worlds, highly intuitive, great for meditating, great for resting. Think of this as the sacred exhale before the new beginning. This is the part of the cycle where we're just aware that something is ending. New moon, solar eclipse. We know with new moons, we're getting ready to plant a seed for something brand new. And we'll talk about how eclipses, it's a little bit different. But the idea is if we're going to start something new, we have to make way for it or room for it. We can't grow a garden in one that's overwhelmed by last year's weeds or growth. We have to clear it out. We have to tend to the soil. We have to make sure that it's ready for the next seeds that are going to be planted. So even though you might not be able to name the cycle that's ending yet, you still might feel something stirring within you. Big shift coming. Tomorrow, Tuesday, 7 a.m. Eastern, that is when the solar eclipse occurs at 28 degrees Aquarius. Now, I say occurs, we've been feeling it building up. We feel eclipses like 3 months in and 3 months afterwards. So it's not like the eclipse just happens at one specific moment. As my teacher would say, the universe doesn't turn on a dime, but that's when it apexes. So that's kind of the crescendo. That's what we are kind of, I don't want to say normally a full moon we talk about building up towards, but I feel this building energy for sure for sure, for certain. I want to say it all at once. But think of an eclipse as an accelerator. It helps to shake things up and break things down that might be keeping you out of alignment with your soul's calling. Sometimes doors close, sometimes they open, but whatever's shifting and changing right now, I invite you to take a deep breath and ground and move into a neutrality so that it's not so hard to say goodbye and let go of some of the things that are bubbling to the surface into our awareness, where we realize, oh, it's time. It's time to thank this and bless this for being a part of my life and let it go. And I'm giggling because I had this incredible bee in my bonnet. Part of the stirring I felt with this eclipse is to reorganize my office. And as I'm reorganizing it, I realized that a lot of the stuff I had out, all my sacred tools, all my crystals and cards and sound, like tuning forks and books, it was becoming overwhelming. It was getting really cluttered. So some of that stuff I have to bless and totally release. And it's hard. It's so hard, but I've been working on it. So welcome, welcome. Great to have you, Nada Pick Studios. Louise, great to have you. Bo, Jack, wonderful to have you as well. So thank you all for being here live with me. The other thing I want to mention about this eclipse is that it's having a bit of a conversation with the planet of surprises, with the planet of Eureka, unexpected downloads. It's Uranus. Uranus is also known as a planet for breakdown, for breakthrough. So what you might discover is that this energetic reset that's coming, where we feel the new cycle beginning, it may not feel calm or predictable. There might be a restless energy that's in the air. So all the more important to do your grounding practices. We'll go through that. But in the meantime, utilize this week, just like the card that I pulled for all of us, the Ace of Swords. It's a great week for downloads. And what is a download? It's just an intuitive message you receive, an insight that seems to come out of the blue, this eureka moment where you're like, wow, I never thought of that. Let me take note. We don't have to take action yet, but take note. So expect insights, expect disruptions. Notice that it's important you take care of your nervous system, doing practices that regulate it. So it's a great thing to do your moon. And I can explain more about that later, but essentially where the moon was when you were born, do practices that nurture that. And that's a conversation for another time. But right now I want to encourage you, remember that this new moon solar eclipse is happening in the energy of Aquarius. And Aquarius is about collective vision. It's forward thinking, future thinking. So the eclipse is setting the stage for us to evolve into something bigger than our current comfort zone. After Tuesday, the moon begins to build in light, begins to wax. So momentum starts to increase. You might have low energy at the beginning of the week, but the eclipses, there's a kind of a restless anxiety energy that stick with them. They don't behave quite like a regular new moon. And that's why when we talk about setting new moon intentions or making wishes, we want to be mindful because there's many different schools of thought on, do you manifest with the new moon? Do you plant new seeds and new intentions? New moon's powerful. And the thing is that they act erratically. We can't quite predict which way it's going to go. So let's say someone says, oh, I want to, manifest abundance, prosperity. And then next thing they know, great, universe answers, but it means moving to a new city with a new job that pays more, and they have to leave family and friends behind. So it may not be exactly the way we predicted, and it might not resonate with our heart in such a sweet way. As a result, take your time when it comes to the new moon. Don't be so quick to kind of jump into new moon wishes. It's not that you can't do it. You just want to be very, very mindful because the energy of the week is building, but clarity still forming. It might be difficult to have the full detailed picture in mind. You're not meant to rush this week. You're meant to align. And one of the ways you can align is you can place your hand on your heart and take a few deep breaths. And let's say there are some decisions that you have to make this week. One thing that you can do once you're grounded is put your two choices. Let's hopefully just work with two choices in the beginning on a piece of paper on either side of the room. And you just have your hand on your heart and you take a few deep breaths. You can ground by imagining a column of light from the center of the heavens that runs through the crown of the head, down through the core of the body, down between the legs to the center of the earth. Super fast way to do it. And then you just hand on heart, take a few deep breaths, maybe even hand on solar plexus, and you ask your body, you ask your angels, which choice is in my highest and best interest right now? So if you have to make a decision, maybe it's letting go of something, blessing and releasing it, or the like. There's some things that you can do. Then when we get to Friday's energy, this is a very big piece of the week. Astrologers have been watching this for a long time. This is when the planet of discipline, responsibility, structures, good old Saturn, meets up with the planet of daydreaming and intuition and feelings and sometimes a little bit of confusion or fog, good old Neptune. They meet at 0 degrees Aries. And this is incredibly rare. They've met up in the Aries energy before, but not at the 0 degree point. And the big thing about that is the very start of the zodiac energy. It's when things build. It's when things come to a head. And Saturn and Neptune, they only meet up and have conversations about every 35 to 38 years. So that's where we're also kicking off a new cycle. Something big is shifting this week. It's a reset week. It's a chance to begin a whole new adventure, whole new journey. Think of it like a generational cycle, restructuring relationship between the vision, that's Neptune, and the reality, Saturn, the practical down to earth things. Dreams and form, faith and responsibility, they're coming together to meet at the creation point. And the last time they met like this, just together, not even in Aries, it was a totally different zodiac sign, it was in Capricorn, was 1989. And for me, I was overseas in Europe living. My father was stationed over there and the Berlin Wall was coming down. And I really remember that time period from 88 to 90, just some of the massive shifts that were occurring. So it's different, not exactly the same as right now, but that was the last time Saturn and Neptune had a conversation. What makes this moment very, very rare is that it's happening at the 0 degrees Aries point, and that's the very first degree of the zodiac. Think of it as an ignition point, a cosmic reset button for another way. This is not subtle energy. This is the beginning of a long arc story and one that's going to unfold over decades. This week might feel like both an ending and a spark. And if it does for you, that's because it is. What you're releasing under this dark moon here, we're kind of continuing just to be aware. And it doesn't mean that you can't keep doing kind of that clearing and releasing. Become aware of it. I know I've got a lot more work to do with my office and other things in my home. And now my heart is even stirred more around, okay, now is a time to let this go. We're resetting under this eclipse. We're igniting that new 35 to 38 year cycle. It's a threshold week. Move consciously. Don't just randomly react to what's going on. Hi, love Vanessa. Great to have you. And Fritz Louisville and Renee, so fabulous to have all of you online live. Thanks for joining in. Let's talk for a moment also about the Lunar New Year and the year of the fire horse. We're not going to take too much time on this because I'm not a Chinese astrologer. I'm a Western astrologer. And I very much want to take a moment to honor their traditions, because one of the things is that I love that there are so many traditions around the world that use the lunar calendar as a way of timing and of honoring the moon. And what we're going to do is just take a moment to recognize and realize that the moon was humanity's original timekeeper. And 2026, this is the time of the fire horse. And archetypally, the horse energy represents movement, independence, freedom, and momentum. Think of it as bringing more visibility, more passion, more courage, more heat. The fiery energy of the horse, I always think of the black stallion, wants to run free. Don't fence me in. They want to have adventures, feel the wind blowing through their mane. So symbolically, for all of us, this is an invitation to boldly move forward. One important key piece for an empath, though, is to be aware, because horse energy moves very quickly and fire burns very intensely and brightly. So for those of us who have a more sensitive nervous system, who might get overwhelmed quickly in the fast fiery years, it's important to make sure that we stay rooted in and connected with, how are my energy levels? Where am I giving out energy? Where am I receiving it? It's an invitation not to run faster, but to move consciously. Think of it as, I want to use my energy very effectively and efficiently. So ground before you leap. Build fires in a contained way. If you get inspiration this week, rather than just jumping into it and starting to create or throw everything out of the house, take a moment for that deep breath, honor the Saturn energy. Okay, I'm going to be grounded and practical, and then honor the Neptune influence of the help of dissolving and letting go of the item, of the thought. And Saturn is really physical. Don't let this energy consume you this year. I do find it's very interesting that the Lunar New Year converges with the solar eclipse. It's not completely rare, it's just that the eclipse is happening at a time where we have new moon solar eclipse connecting with that Aquarian community, future forward thinking vibe. And then we have all that Aries energy later in the week with Saturn and Neptune. It's an ignition week. This is ignition energy. And that energy, think of it, if you are running quickly, you want to make sure that you're running towards the right thing that's soul aligned. If we're running this race and we're working so very hard and we end up in the wrong place, how frustrating and disappointing is that? I don't know if you ever had a moment like that in school or at work, misunderstanding. Let's say there was miscommunication. And that's the other thing. We're in Mercury retrograde shadow. Hasn't totally gone retrograde yet, but there's that effect where we might not be thinking quite clearly. We might misunderstand people or misconstrue things. And then as a result, we might end up working on the wrong thing. We work so hard and we put it all together and we're so proud of it. And then whoever we were building it for says, that wasn't what I wanted. What did you do? This is completely wrong. Oh, like knife to the heart. So take the time. Take the time to make sure that you are trusting your intuition. And this brings me to a super important point. Tomorrow, I am teaching a free masterclass on intuition, because in a week like this, with all these eclipse portals energies, we have another eclipse on March 3rd, the fire force momentum, all the big collective shifts that are happening. The most important thing is that you are connected to your gut instinct, your intuition, listening to your inner voice. So I am going to put up on the screen a place where you can register to make sure that you get notified when I go live with the masterclass. It's happening tomorrow, Tuesday, February 17th, 2 p.m. Eastern. And then, let's see, I don't know, did it pop up? Yay, it did pop up. Okay, and I'll put it on the screen. It's irenamiller.co/info-EA. So that's just INFO-EA. And come, hang out. We'll get together. We'll practice a whole bunch of intuitive exercises that help you really begin to trust those gut instincts, what I call inklings. Okay, with that being said, let's break down the week day by day, because it's nice to know where the moon is and how you can utilize the energy of the moon. And the reason that the moon is so helpful is that it helps us keep track of energy levels, the way we're processing stress. It connects us with our childhood. It connects us with nurturing our soul. So when we say do your moon, the idea is that when we're overwhelmed, when we're stressful, when we're feeling big emotions, if we can be tender in a way that our natal moon, where the moon was when we were born, what zodiac sign it was in, then it's incredibly healing. And if you don't know where your moon was when you were born, I have a link in the description below where I do a moon map report, and I can pull up that data and information for you. Hi, Susan. Great to have you from Cincinnati. Awesome. Okay, Monday. It's an Aquarius moon, and we're in that balsamic phase. Very intuitive, very spiritual, quiet, a little more introverted, great for meditating, for visualizing. You might feel that kind of restless energy though. So if you feel the restless energy, take a few deep breaths and get outside to go for a walk or even a drive in the car, something where you feel the wind kind of moving through you. It's a little bit chilly where I am to have the windows down. The Aquarian moon is really good at helping us gain perspective, to detach a little bit so we can get the bigger vision. I think of the Aquarian energy as, when that old saying says, I can't see the forest for the trees, because we're stuck in the weeds and the trees are all around us. What the Aquarian energy does is it helps us zoom out so we can have the big picture and we can see the whole forest. The planet of communication and thought, good old Mercury, is really working well with the planet of expansion and growth. So you might find that taking time to quiet the mind, either through a walk or nice deep breathing exercises, insights can come. And you might even have that moment to reflect back on past memories of, oh, yeah, that's right. I want to remember this as I move forward. So take time to journal, not a day for pushing, a day for really clearing and getting that big picture. Let's take a moment to pull a card. I'm going to just ask, how can you make the most of Monday's energy? Holy cannoli. So the Lovers, love this card. And this is all about choice and choosing wisely and not looking for the quick win, not looking for the, how do I want to say? It's about thinking forward, future thinking. If I choose this, how am I going to feel an hour later, 10 hours later, 10 years later? Because the decisions we make right now will affect us in the future. What choices are you making now to shape your future as well as your present moment? It's a choice day Monday. And my heart just kind of sits with that. I don't know if you ever do this. I'm always, for me, and I'll kind of give a little backstory really quickly. I really see our physical body as our best energy instrument for picking up when vibes are bad, like when you get goosebumps or your tummy feels upset or there's a tightness in your chest or you can't quite find your voice. These are all intuitive signs. It's called clear feeling. And that clear feeling where you feel something physically in your body when something's off or something's good, that's one of the best intuitive pieces of ourself that we can access quickly. Now, if our physical body is out of tune, maybe we're feeling sluggish or we're feeling really tired or we haven't been able to move our body and it's tight and it's achy, our physical intuitive energy instrument is out of tune. I love, because of that, to take a lot of time to address eating certain healthy foods. And I'm always experimenting and trying different things. You might hear like, oh, have the lemon water in the morning, or, oh, make sure you have turmeric, or, oh, right? Because it's going to be different for each of us. But I love exploring that. I love exploring physical movement, taught yoga for 30 years. I love to move my body, love to exercise, love to stretch, all of these things, because it helps really bring an awareness into the intuitive muscle. Now, when we come up to a choice point, one of the things that I do that might be helpful for you, and I gave that backstory so you know why I do this, because I talk about food a lot and eating. That's one of my ways that I kind of engage with building my intuition and keeping my energy instrument of the body strong. Is my husband, who's so sweet, for Valentine's Day, got me these beautiful iced sugar cookies, which are delicious. But I also know that if I choose to eat them at the not greatest of times, right? I have to think about, when am I going to eat it? I could go into a sugar spiral and it can make me hungrier. So I have to be mindful of when I choose to eat that wonderful, delicious cookie. And sometimes I'm not, but I kind of decide ahead of time, okay, I know with my body and how I react to this, how I'm going to feel later. And sometimes I just choose out of comfort, out of fun, out of the love, I'm going to just do it. But I'm aware. I'm aware of how my body will react and respond. Think of the choices like that. It might be a choice with a job, going out for the promotion and being bold. It might be moving. It might be in relationships. But take the time to think 10 steps ahead, step forward thinking, even if it's not completely clear yet. Okay, Tuesday, Aquarius moon. Good old eclipse energy. So the eclipse happens at 7 a.m. Eastern, and right after the eclipse, we have a void moon, of course, or a void of course moon, void moon. I love kind of just getting to the point, which is right after the eclipse, we have about a 2-hour window from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Eastern where it's quiet. The big shift just happened, and it gives you a moment to just take your breath and recognize what just happened. Where am I going? Everything shifted. And some of us are going to notice it more than others because it depends on what it lights up in our natal chart, where the stars were when we were born, stars and the planets. Some people are going to be like, not so big a deal. And other people might feel like everything has changed. My whole life has been turned upside down. If things shift, the energy is helping you, the universal energy, to become more aware. What's going on in your heart? What's that soul calling? Are you in alignment? So the Aquarian energy that many of us will wake up to is there to help bring a collective insight, knowing that it's more than just the individual, but that each of us in our own unique, distinct personalities come together to form a beautiful tapestry of community. And that's the cool thing about Aquarian energy, is that it really celebrates kind of the quirkiness or the, I'll say, individuality. They're, Aquarians, they march to their own tune, but they're very much appreciative of community, and they always think about humanity and coming together in the collective. And that Leo influence, Leo is Aquarius's opposite or complement, brings in how important it is to maintain our unique identities. So to celebrate your gifts and talents. This is a beautiful dance because we don't want to lose who we are as individuals as we come together in the group. We want to celebrate the differences because that's what makes life rich and deep and rewarding. Okay, let's pull a card for this and just ask, how can you make the most of this eclipse energy? Holy cannoli. And come to my free masterclass tomorrow. That's how we can play with it. Okay, Two of Pentacles. Look at all these decisions. This is another choice point. Oh, I am all chills. So we got the Lovers card, which is big decisions. Now, this is kind of one of the minor decisions, budgeting your resources, time, energy, money. Make sure that it's not drowning you. I just saw this great video. I can't remember. The title was something like, get rid of all your junk, or it's all junk. And it spoke to my heart because I'm holding all these treasured items like this was my grandma's, or I love this crystal. I don't want to let it go. And at some point, our things begin to own us. And we're always spending time organizing or trying to clean, and it never feels put together. And it might just be that there's too much stuff in our lives. And I'm talking about physical things right now because that's what I'm going through. But what you're going through, it might be too many projects you're working on at once or too many responsibilities. Take time to say, okay, I have to make sure that things are in balanced measure, that I'm not out of alignment. Because with the fire horse here, remember, as an empath, it's really easy to burn out or to get overstimulated or overwhelmed. Okay. One last thing about Tuesday's energy, that planet of restlessness, eureka, inspiration. Remember, he's having a little bit of a, like, he's kind of reminds me of like the older sibling who's trying to bust chops and get a reaction out of the new moon. If you are feeling restless, if you're feeling anxious, do something with that energy. And what I feel called to say is, on the inhale, just sweep your arms up. And on the exhale, release your arms down. Even if you were to do something like that, nice, deep, long breaths, moving your arms up and down. So more than just the physical deep breathing, but making breath even on the inhale and the exhale. So if you breathe into 4, you exhale to 4. Move your body, move with your breath. It's going to be helpful. It's not a day to rush. It's a day to just kind of be aware of what's changing, what's shifting. Because after the Aquarian moon, so around 9 a.m., 9:09 Eastern, the moon moves into Pisces. So now we might feel a little more emotional about it, sentimental. And maybe you need to have a long bath or shower just to help process the big feelings and emotions. Okay, Wednesday. Wednesday, we're fully in that Pisces moon, and the sun goes into Pisces. How exciting is that? So happy birthday to all our Pisces friends. If you were a Pisces, put it in the comments so that we can wish you a very happy birthday. I love to celebrate that. And also in the description below, I do birthday horoscope readings if you're interested in that for your birthday. Okay. When the sun goes into Pisces and with the moon in Pisces, you might be feeling a little extra emotional. You may want to retreat away from the world. You may feel a little sadness, but it is a highly intuitive moment. There's a softness to it. It's also very sponge-like and can absorb feelings, emotions, and thoughts very easily. Think of it as a porous energy. Protect your energy on Wednesday. Maybe you decide I'm going to limit the scrolling. I'm going to just listen to my favorite music. Maybe I go for that long bath or take the shower, with the salt scrubs. But nurture that moon energy. Do the Pisces moon, which means listening to music, getting lost in a daydream, reading a really good book, limiting the time of scrolling and access to some of the more disturbing news. Not that we're burying our head in the sand, but this is us being mindful as we go into this new fire horse year. It is so important that we are grounded as empaths so we can witness what is happening all around us. And at the same time, there are some moments where we just have to retreat and nurture our spirit so we're strong enough to fight another day. Think of Wednesday as a listening day, not a day for productivity, and things will go a lot smoother. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and pull a card for Wednesday. How can you make the most of Wednesday's energy? The Tower card. So the Tower card, the thing I love about this card is you're no longer in the dark. Now, when you're no longer in the dark, you become aware of things that, sometimes it's nice if it's like, I just wish I never knew. Life was so much easier before I knew all about this energy, intuition, awakening moment. It wasn't, but sometimes it feels like it. So you take a deep breath and you realize that whatever information is being revealed so that you finally know the truth. And as you're making your decisions this week and you're moving forward, you're not running in the wrong direction anymore. It's that horse energy that's desiring freedom, excitement, passion, courage, boldness. We don't want to be running in the wrong direction and end up at the wrong place working so hard only to find out that it's like, well, that was a waste of time and energy and effort and maybe money. The Tower card reveals. Now, at first, it can come as a shock. And Uranus, with this eclipse and even the eclipse itself, it's a week where we might get information or news that rocks our world. And that's okay. Take a deep breath and ground. And let's just go through the grounding practice for a moment, what I call the root flush fill. As you take a deep breath, imagine that golden column of light from the center of the heavens that moves down through the crown, the head, the throat, the heart, the solar plexus, the lower belly, down through pelvic floor between the legs, all the way through 6 layers of earth, topsoil, subsoil, granite, fire, crystals. Breathe. I'm going fast, I know. Magma to the very core and heartbeat of Mother Earth. If you need to go slower, you can. You can always stand outside barefoot. You can always place your hand on a tree. You can even imagine roots from the soles of your feet that grow deep into the earth. But this column of light roots you in the heavens and the earth. So you are a child of the universe. And you don't have to do this journey alone. You have friends in high places. So become aware of your own energetic field that your heart is producing. This beautiful field of energy all around you that is you. It's part of you. It can go out anywhere from 8 to 12 feet, creating this beautiful bubble-like space. And using our imagination, anything that's in the space that isn't serving your highest, flush it to the earth to be recycled into something of great beauty. And then fill up with a beautiful golden light. And I really feel the tension on the left side of the body. So anything from the past that's holding you back, we just say hello to. I'm going to channel some energy to help shift some of the heavy things, just assist a little bit here. Here we go. And that golden light fills up the spaces you've cleared or that you've created, and it places you into neutrality. Can you feel the little bit of the difference? Yeah. every day this week, do that root flush fill, ground. I'm going to put that in the comments as well. If you don't have access to that, that's at irenamiller.co/ I can't talk, type, get calm. Holy cannoli. Grounding this week is key. Okay, let me pull one more card to say, as that Tower card energy comes up with Wednesday, what can we do to help navigate with more grace? The High Priestess. Awesome. So if there is unsettling or surprising news or news that rocks your world that comes up this week, make sure you're grounded. Do the grounding at the beginning of every day. That way, when we're grounded, we don't absorb the energy impact. It goes around us. And as empaths, that's really, really important. Can you feel the shift? I can feel it. It feels so good. The next part about this is, when this happens, don't look outside yourself for the answer right away. You know, sometimes when we have upsetting news, we might go and say to someone, oh no, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? This happened to me last week. I had an unexpected charge from a software service that renewed. It's a bit of a long story, but it was like a $900 charge I wasn't expecting, and it was a bit scary. And I thought, what do I do? And so I started asking questions because, anyway, long story. And I realized, okay, I'm going to take a breath. I'm going to write down my options. I'm going to do my due diligence and research, and discovered that there was a pathway for me to still cancel and get my refund, because I'm not using the software. And it just would be silly to pay for a whole year and not use it. This is an opportunity for you to say, okay, I'm going to ground, and I'm going to look within for the answers. Now, what does that mean? Well, I do believe that we have a direct connection to God through our heart. Some people call it the God spot. Some people call it the Holy Spirit. You can see it and call it what is resonating with your heart right now. But simply place your hand on your heart and you just say, okay, angels, God, universe, what do I do? What now? And then open to those little intuitive nudges. So when I received that shock, it was at 2 a.m. I woke up, I saw the text message, and I was like, oh no. And something told me, Irena, take a breath. It's going to be okay. Don't worry about it right now. In the morning, we'll come up with a plan. It's highly unusual for me. Normally, I'd be worried about it. In the morning, I awoke and I thought, well, maybe I'll use it. Maybe I'll make the best of the situation. And as the day progressed, I realized, no, this is an opportunity for me to be bold, right? There's that Aries energy, the fire horse, and to speak up and say, you know what, this isn't in alignment with my heart, and I can't continue moving forward on that path with that software. Great software. I love it. I'm just not using it. Okay. So this is saying, take that moment to pause, place your hand on your heart, and ask for the guidance. Once you ask for the guidance, give your mind something to do. Go do dishes, go for a walk, clean the bathroom, mop the floors. Give the mind something to do so that you don't go into a spiral of, oh no, what should I do? What's the answer, God? What's the answer? Because if we keep talking, we're not going to hear God. Right? It's hard. I giggle because why? I do it. Okay, Thursday. Thursday is a Pisces moon, and we have a void moon midday. So from 10:22 a.m. Eastern until 2:39 p.m. Eastern, a little bit longer, around about 4 hours. When the moon is void, of course, what that means is take it easy, rest, reflect, journal, meditate. Don't try to push things. Don't try to launch deals. Don't sign contracts. You know, and even with Mercury retrograde, we want to be super mindful about, you know, making large purchases right now. We're signing contracts. You can do it even in a Mercury retrograde. You just want to be mindful going into it. And that's a conversation for another time. But just know, midday on Thursday, you set aside the time to say, okay, it's admin, tie up loose ends, meditate if I can, journal. Don't try to have important meetings where you want to get things done. Give yourself a time to simply listen, right? It's another intuitive window. And it's nice to know that too, as we're going into the week, because we might say, oh, we receive intuitive guidance 24/7, but we have to engage and do daily living, and we might not always recognize it. That's part of why I created the Energy Alchemist program. What I'm teaching in my free masterclass tomorrow, which is a piece of the Energy Alchemist, it's an opportunity to say, how can I become more strongly connected to that intuitive guidance? So for example, I've gotten into the bad habit of listening to things at night, and I'll put like one little headphone in my ear, and it fell out of my arm, or out of my ear, out of my arm. That's interesting. Out of my ear. And this morning I thought, oh no, I never let myself totally fall asleep while listening to something. But I realized you've got to find it before you take the puppies out for morning potty. And I said, okay, angels, I was asking Anthony, where did it go? And right away I knew it had gotten into my sleeve. So it was like right next to my arm. Crazy. That never happened before. So how would I know to look there? I got just this intuitive knowing, claircognizance, clear knowing. Check your arm. Because I was wearing a long sleeve shirt. Okay. So for Thursday, I'm going to pull a card. I don't know. Did I pull a card? I can't remember. No, I didn't. Okay. I'm going to pull a card for Thursday. That Pisces moon. Oh, one popped out. Holy cannoli. Speaking loudly. Beautiful Nine of Wands. Nine of Wands. She is strong. She is fierce. She is fearless. But this is saying, don't give up. You're so close to the finish line. You've just been carrying too many things and it's getting a bit exhausting. Know what to put down. You don't have to do all the projects at once. Okay. Friday, this is the big day that many of us have been anticipating, where Aries really activates. The moon is going to be in Aries. Saturn and Neptune come together to have a conversation at that 0 degrees Aries point. When Saturn meets Neptune at this very first degree of the zodiac, Neptune is our dreams and Saturn is a structure. So dreams are meeting structure. Visions are meeting reality. And under that Aries moon, it wants action. Saturn, though, says make sure it's intentional action. You're not just running in any direction, but you are consciously mindful. What am I running towards? I'm going to pull a card. How can you make the most of that Friday energy? Three of Pentacles. Find your community. So when you're running your race, when you're connecting with others, find the people who inspire you and lift you up. If you have a goal to get healthy, or maybe it's to learn something new, make sure the people you're surrounding you with are of a similar, they have a similar goal in mind. Because if you're surrounding yourself with people who have very different goals, like as your main kind of, I have a friend who calls it her square squad. If you're surrounding yourself with people who have very different goals, it's going to be hard to achieve your goal. Doesn't mean we can't be friends with all sorts of people with different goals. It's just important to make sure that the people you're spending the most time with are helping support and uplift you going forward. Hi, Jazz, is that you? I think that's you. Looks like a slightly different handle, but hello, Jazz Pink Gator. Great to have you. Saturday, we have an Aries moon, and we have a very, very long void moon. Saturday is going to be more of a rest day, kind of a floating day. Don't feel, and you might, how do I want to say this? You might feel a little restless, like I need to do something, because that moon is in Aries. High energy, but no traction. You might feel that restlessness. Move your body. Avoid arguments. Know that the fire energy you're feeling, channel it in a healthy way. That might mean going for a bike ride. It might mean walking. It might mean swimming, exercising, whatever you have to do. Just be mindful that people might feel a little more argumentative. Okay, Saturday, because we're all feeling this. How can you make the most of Saturday's energy? Okay, Page of Swords. So the first thing that comes to mind is mind your own beeswax. And what anybody thinks of you is none of your business. She has her nose in the book. She's following her path. And as she follows her path, yeah, there's people who are doubting or questioning or saying things or throwing stones. But she's inspired. She's got her ideas. She's got her plan, her playbook, and she's going for her dreams. She's not letting other people's beliefs and opinions sway her. So Saturday, just take time to make sure that you're really distinguishing between what are my thoughts and feelings versus someone else's. And a practice like that where you say, oh, you know what? 5% of these only belong to me. That means 95% belongs to someone else. Okay. And it's subjective. And that's one way that you can start to realize that you might be holding on to thoughts and feelings that don't even belong to you. Okay, Sunday. Sunday, the moon moves into Taurus. This should feel really good, very grounded, time to enjoy yourself, very stabilizing. Think of it as the exhale. And the planet of love and beauty works with the planet of expansion and growth. So this is an emotional nourishment. Have a good meal, cook something, and just slow down and enjoy that breath to recalibrate the nervous system. Okay, Sunday. How to make the most of Sunday's energy. Okay, High Priestess. Go back to the inner voice. And for this, something that comes through is a repetitive motion of sorts. Again, whether it's a cleaning practice, the chop wood, carry water, maybe it's knitting, maybe it's playing the piano, but something that's a nice repetitive motion where the mind can just relax. You're giving it something to do, a task, but in that place, you can hear the inner guidance come up. If you can sit in the quiet in the dark and hear that guidance, awesome, go for it. Some of us are a little more restless and it's tough to sit and listen for the guidance. So moving meditations are fabulous. Okay, this week, just to kind of wrap it up and close it, remember it's not random. It is a reset before ignition. The fire horse year begins, an eclipse opens the door. Saturn and Neptune begin a new 36-year story. Breathe. It's an intense week, and yet your work is simple, but deep. Trust your intuition before you move. And remember, tomorrow, February 17th, 2 p.m. Eastern, I'm hosting a free class to teach you how to really strengthen your intuitive muscles. irenamiller.co/info-EA. These are practices from my Energy Alchemists mentorship and program. Come. I'm doing this because I want to help support you and give you the tools as you move into this fire horse year. Remember, take a deep breath this week. Do your root flesh fill, ground. And it was a joy to be able to spend this time with you. Thanks for hanging out with me. Have an incredible, incredible week. Remember, trust your vibes, follow your heart, and I'll catch you all here next week, 9:30 a.m. Eastern. Much love. Hey, and if this has been helpful for you, please do like it, share it, subscribe. It helps the channel so much, helps me so much. And I'm so, so thankful and grateful for your help and getting all of these practices out to others so that we can make this world a beautiful, beautiful place, and we can all go on this adventure in a fun way. All right, bye, guys. You're welcome, Susan. Thanks for joining me live.